So interestingly, I was talking to one of the heartfulness trainer, a good friend of mine, in general, and then I was telling him about what I shared on this call last week. So I said like only 2% of the things are in our control, and then 98% are not in our control in our life. And if we can manage the 2%, our life will go fairly smoothly. And the 98%, leave it to the higher. And that's why we need to pray. That's why we need to have that faith in that higher. Correct? So, and again, I'll talk to you about what is in our 2% in our control and how to use that higher in our lives. Correct? So, in this 2%, there are certain, what should I say, the bound duties in life. Whether it's attending to work, whether it's, many things, whether it's food habits, whether it is our thought process, how we have to react to the world, and how we should treat ourselves importantly more than others treating you. It's always how we treat ourselves is reflected from others. It's always when someone else is not treating you well, means in that aspect I'm not treating myself well. And it's a reflection always. The world is reflecting to what you think about yourself. And this pattern will remain. You can change people, you can go to any place in the world, the same reflection comes back to you. You can change jobs, the same thing happens. You can change your friends, same thing happens. You can change your places, same thing happens. So it's a pattern. And then we think, okay, we have this process called cleaning in heartfulness. Also, okay, if I clean, will it help me fix my life? Will it help me fix things in my life? Or whatever those things we are trying to fix, correct? So what cleaning removes is the patterns in ours. And also the deeper cleaning removes the lives of the past lives pattern. Sometimes it's interestingly the past life patterns might not be applicable for me in this life based on the new patterns I am creating. Right? But the cleaning helps for me to expand my consciousness. When my consciousness expands, I'll have better clarity with my life. And then again, will cleaning help my problems with neighbor? No, it's not going to help. Will cleaning help in my relationships? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. But how it helps is so that the barriers, the layers where the consciousness is trapped is removed. When the trap of the consciousness is removed, see, it's whatever is created in our life is all through consciousness. Everything is happening in our life is how we are dealing with this consciousness. So once that start expanding, you will find a significant change in the pattern of your life. Significant change in the pattern of life. So that's why what is in my control in this 2% also includes the practices we are at least subscribing to or we want to adhere to. If you go to some other system, that some other system will give you whatever their practices are. Or if you go to the religious institutes, they'll give you the practices, whatever they think are the better for you. But whatever the system I'm subscribing to, whether it's religious, non religious, spiritual, non spiritual, whatever we are adopting, we must adhere to that practice, and that is in my control. So when I get up in the morning, when my mental status, my physical status, my financial status, my health status, if everything is permitting, why should I not invest in that meditation half hour, which can set lot of patterns right in my life? So then, there's so many other things which are in our control. The best utilization of the time, best utilization of the resources, all these are in our control. So whatever, if I can manage this 2% in my life, then how this 98% manages is when these 2%, this 2% of the things, if you observe the 10 maxims which Babuji has given, is all about this 2%. And finally, the bedtime prayer. So when I'm praying to this higher, all that I'm seeking is for that higher to become, or myself to become the higher and the higher to become the self. So both come to coexistence. When they both come to coexistence, and the consciousness around me, which is expanding, creates the patterns in my life which are become conducive for my life to go smoothly, fairly smoothly. And like I gave you that example, right? So the health situations, we have no control, and sometimes even the higher will not heal us. So we have to go through it. There is no choice there. So that is not in my control. Right? And for the people, who are facing the war right now, who have nothing to do with this country's leadership, either side, they're going through horrible situation. And it's not in their control. Right? So there you cannot do anything, just keep praying and something to work out by itself. Or sometimes it might work, it might not work. And people have asked me always, how come the divine is so cruel? How come there are so many diseases? How come, even the children who are born with lot of issues, is God really merciful? Right? All sorts of these questions will come up. And each religion or spiritual system try to explain why it happens. But the right way to look at these situations are, the life is so dynamic and life situations are dynamic. We don't have to look for the root cause for everything which happens. Why sun shines, science can explain it. But if you go deeper and keep asking questions, why even sun in the first place? So it's a phenomena of life, phenomena of existence. And through spiritual practices, we are touching something which is beyond existence. That's why, people, if you think, even the realization is a wrong word which is used. Realization means that is something substantial which I can, something which exists, I can find it. But according to the definition, this higher essence neither exists nor does not exist. So the existence phenomena does not apply to it. So when my mind and conscious expands to that state, that subtle state, what it can bring to my existence itself is something unfathomable. There is no explanation for it. What will happen? There is no explanation. If I say something will happen, then it is very much tangible, very much transactional. If that phenomena is not tangible, not transactional, you cannot capture it in the realm of existence. How do you explain it? To that state we can expand, and it is humanly possible if we can apply this 2% correctly. Right? And that's what we are experimenting here, striving for, looking forward for. And that's what our prayer is for. To really connect with this higher essence. Right? So it is something very, very, what should I say? What we are experimenting, what we are trying to work at is something phenomenal. Even phenomenal is a short word, not the right word. It falls short. Any explanation I give falls short for it. So with that intention, if I am meditating, with that intention, if I am cleaning, with that intention I am praying, and with that intention I am putting my efforts into everything I do in a day-to-day life. See the transformation of that life. Here I am not talking about success or failure, health or sickness, or wealth or poverty. I'm not talking of any of those opposites. We're kind of going beyond our existential state itself. If you ask me what is the benefit is the wrong question. Because benefit is in a transactional plane, in a tangible plane. We cannot apply benefit, the terms like benefit, we cannot apply it here. Right? It is something to be cherished. One guy asked me, who stayed with me for a week, he said, I'm a very rich guy. I have no problems. I have everything I can ask for. I have fame, I have money, I have everything I can ask for. And I can get anything I can ask for. Why should I meditate? This was the question. I said, you have a pet? He said, yes. Even your pet has everything it can ask for. Right? So the pet, it has food, whatever it can cherish from its existential point, its conscious state, it has it. So what is the difference between you and your pet? Don't you think your appreciation of the life is much better than your pet? And your outlook of this world is way above your pet. Right? So if I want to make that level of difference from this existential standpoint, then you have to meditate. So you can see the state of consciousness as it is expanding, your outlook of life, how much difference it can make. So that's why these practices are. It's not about believing some so-called master or a system or anything of that sort. So master is to give some guidance, is to give some transmission. The master has to play his role. But we have to play our role too. Otherwise, it's of no use. And yesterday, someone asked, how come Babuji's his own sons, all the master's children, are not at the same level as master? Why? Why couldn't they give them that advancement? Because you have to subject yourself, you have to put that 2% in to get that 98%. If I'm not putting that 2% in, it doesn't matter to whom I am close to, or to whom I belong to, or to whom I am born to. Doesn't matter. It cannot be forced on anyone. Spirituality cannot be forced. We have to take it.
Shrikant, remind me again, what is the 2%?
So I was talking here last week also, this 2% is what is in your control. If I can use that 2% of what is in my control, for example, doing the practice is in my control. Taking healthy decisions is in my control. Right? And right choices is in my control. We always know what is the right choice. So if I can use those, what is in my control, and then everything falls in its place. Oh, I don't have time for the practice. Then you see where your time is spent. Maybe if that is maybe important, that's probably the time you are spending in whatever the activity, maybe it's your 2%. Right? So it's not about, each individual from their standpoint, what is the 2%, the activities within the 2% varies. Right? If I am sick, that taking regular medicine is in part of my 2%. If you are healthy, exercising is part of your 2%. So it changes, but once we recognize these primordial duties of our life and fulfill them correctly, then there's a huge difference it makes in our life. So identify it yourself and make a task chart or whatever you want to call it. Put it in your journal and see if you can adhere to it at least to some level. And then see within a week or 2 weeks, you will see a lot of change in your life. Most of the time we procrastinate for no reason. I have seen it myself in my life. I go sit in my couch for meditation, and then automatically my hand turns into the remote and the TV is on, and there goes my meditation. And that's why I have to make a conscious effort not to sit in that couch in front of the TV for me to meditate. But I know if I'm sitting on that couch, I'm going for the remote. So we have to make small adjustments to make things right. That's why the 10 maxims gives a lot of guidance in our life. So 10 maxims are how to utilize the 2%. From the time we get up to the time we sleep. It gives us some guidelines. Right? So that's why they are maxims. Maxims are like principles, they're not commandments. It doesn't say thou shall or it doesn't say thou shall not. It is for us to use our wisdom to adopt them. So that's why if you get a chance, please read, or if you don't have the patience to read, Daji covered these 10 maxims very well in his videos. Probably he really made it, he brought it to a very practical level and really good videos. I'll share it in our WhatsApp group. Please watch it.
I also love this book.
We can't see you because your background doesn't allow us to see you.
Yeah, the 10 Maxims book.
Yeah. Right. So I know the book you are referring to. Yeah. It's very good. So it's a commentary of Babuji on those 10 maxims. So, all right. So any questions, comments? Otherwise we can get into meditation.